Glance Technologies owns and operates Glance Pay, a disruptive mobile payment technology now live in 16 cities in Canada and about to launch in the US. With revenues up 664% in the last quarter, Glance Technologies has the potential to be a worldwide leader in an industry projected to grow to $1.3 trillion in 3 years. Glance Technologies stock symbols are GLNFF in the US and GET in Canada. Find out more at glancepay.com.
You're listening to HowStreet.com radio, available online at TalkDigitalNetwork.com. Welcome to HowStreet.com radio, the online source for market opinions. Here is Jim Goddard.
My guest is market historian Bob Hoye. He's the chief investment strategist for Institutional Advisors. Welcome back to the show and Happy New Year, Bob.
Yeah, and Jim, we're getting set for a Happy New Year here, financially, and of course, it's always fun on New Year's Eve. We're just going to a nearby pleasant restaurant for the 7 o'clock on shift, and I think we'll enjoy it. So,
yes, yep. I think we'll probably spend it huddled around an artificial fire somewhere. As you know, Mayor Robertson in Vancouver doesn't want us to use natural gas anymore.
Yeah, and of course they don't want you to use wood in your fireplace anymore either. And then you've got that big Draxis plant in England. This one is so bizarre you can't believe it. It was set up some years ago to use what the left calls biomass. That's like all the debris on a forest floor. And you can put that all together and put it in this big plant and burn it and get steam and drive electrical generators. Now, the problem is they built this thing, 70,000 tons a day or something of fuel it needs. So they're not going to gather that on the forest floor. So what are they doing? People in the Carolinas are cutting down trees and then turning them into pellets and then shipping them to England to burn in this biomass fuel burner thing. I mean, they just get weirder and weirder. And, of course, this is how much CO2 is this putting into the air and all that stuff. I'm just concerned about their own mental balances because I'm quite convinced that CO2 does not drive warming or climate change or anything. It's just there, and it does help with the growth of all plant life, which means all of life on Earth is dependent on an adequate amount of CO2. But anyway, so got a little off track there, but the left really gets itself into perplexing conditions, but it's only perplexing for those outside of the movement. Inside, they see absolutely nothing wrong with harvesting trees in the U.S. and sending them to be burnt in England, and then, of course, they're not allowing in many places, in many cities in North America, not allowed to have wood-burning fireplaces in their homes anymore. So, hey, maybe you can help me with it, Jim.
Well, I don't know. I was just thinking of England where a guy wasn't allowed to build a horse shelter, so he made a giant table to put his horses under to get around the rules.
I didn't see that one.
Yes. So British bureaucracy is beyond anyone's comprehension.
Yeah.
Bob, Bitcoin, that has to be the story of the year.
Well, it has been. And you know that we've been on this theme that, October the 4th edition, I guess it was, when we felt that everything was going to get, or the financial bubble would continue. And even the Dow Jones average could get bubbled, and indeed it has. So also, in that October 4th edition, we noted that when a bubble gets going, it goes until it breaks. And then we used some examples where pretty important markets did run and conclude close to the turn of the year. And one of them was, of course, gold and silver, phenomenal gains. And the high was January 21st. And then you had the Nikkei, when it was the world's favorite, right, the last trading day of 1989. And that was that high. So there has been a probability that something that was being bubbled might find a peak towards the end of the year. So we've been watching Bitcoin, which has shown some incredible price rallies, but it's speculation, and at times speculation can be measured. And we note that through the year there were a number of big surges, and then our technical models, the upside exhaustion one, would register an upside exhaustion, and boom, there'd be a correction almost instantaneously, close to the reading. But the thing is that sometimes the correction would be half a day or overnight or something like that. So the volatility is incredible. So then, was it 2 weeks ago? Anyways, the high day, I forget which one it was. We did get a different model. It's a sequential sell signal on the 13-week. Well, it needs 13 weeks of whatever to register the signal, and it's on the weekly basis, and it gave the signal, and that was the high day, and we noted it, and also noted that great speculations are costly. You know, you're denying yourself income. There's the cost of the leverage, and in the case of the Bitcoin, these guys that are professional in it with their Bitcoin mining machines and just holding positions uses a lot of computer power and electricity and stuff like that. So I had put together that little essay on that, and all of a sudden I realized, hey, we got this huge correction on. So what has happened, and Jim, I think the best way to sum it up is that it gave a sequential sell signal on the high day on a weekly basis, and that was the first one in 2 years. And the correction since has been the most substantial in a couple of years. So now it's the question as to whether the big high is in. Honestly, I can't say, but we're pleased with the technical model and pleased with the result on it. So one just has to watch and see how this works it out. But the first really hard break was something like 50% off. And when I looked at that, it reminded me of being in a Vancouver deal where it goes past its best. Maybe you've had months of people buying at very high prices, but inside any deal, you've got people who have really cheap stock. And once they see that the crack is in, it's a tremendous urge to convert that very cheap stock to money of any kind. And so it doesn't matter really what price you're selling at. Whereas those who had bought at higher prices get absolutely shocked to see so much volume coming out on a downtick. And I think there was some of that in there. So it's an important break, and we'll just see how market forces are able to either salvage it and get the original bull market going, or perhaps we're in a major transition here. And really, even the best of judgment on this and the best of technical tools, you can't really read it until it's all in, and the market forces have ruled that either it's going to continue to go or the phenomenon is over. I myself have been thinking for the last while on the Bitcoin thing is that hopefully it leads to an electronic currency that can't be corrupted by governments or central bankers or academic economists who have some personal ideas that if you depreciate currency, all will be well. Now that's we've had 100 years of that nonsense, and it's time to move on beyond that one. And the Bitcoin and the other high side could provide the vehicle whereby a new currency of relatively constant purchasing power can be created that won't be able to be corrupted by madmen and central banks.
Well, South Korea right now has cracked down on cyber or cryptocurrencies, And what is there to stop governments from banning it?
Oh, yeah, that was a dislocation to the market action. But no, the public is, and it shows up best in the United States, is attempting to take control of government from bureaucratic monsters, and it's like back to government by the people, not by the experts. So that's the political side, of which I would say 2017 established pretty good success, particularly with the tax things, the tax reductions in the U.S. accomplished recently. But what you really have here is that with this, the public, the general public, will figure out that this business of depreciating currencies really is evil, and it only exists to fund an authoritarian state, which the public is turned against anyway. So the other half of it will be a currency that authoritarians will not be able to corrupt. So historically speaking, we're in very exciting times, and the one is the popular uprising to take control of government again, and then part of that will be the public defining what currency will be, and it'll be through the Bitcoin phenomenon somehow. And governments such as Korea or other places trying to act against it, they're just acting in their own interest, and I think will be overwhelmed or just actually bypassed by financial history.
We'll have more with Bob Hoye right after the break.
I'm Larry Ray, President and CEO of American Manganese, Inc., listed on the TSX Venture, ticker symbol AMY, A-M-Y, with proprietary patents in the U.S., China, and South Africa. Our focus is on recycling lithium-ion batteries for electric vehicles. China recently legislated the responsibility for recycling onto their electric vehicle manufacturers and importers. For more information, please visit AmericanManganeseInc.com or phone me, Larry Ray, at 778-574-4444.
Arctic Star Exploration, operated by a team of proven mine finders, is focused on diamonds in Finland and the Northwest Territories of Canada. A work program is planned for our Finland property that contains diamond-bearing kimberlite. Arctic Star trades on the TSX Venture Exchange, symbol ADD, and the Frankfurt Exchange, symbol 82A1. Please visit our website at arcticstar.ca or call us at 604-689-1799.
Welcome back. We're chatting with Bob Hoye. Bob, what do you see happening with gold in the new year?
Well, it came down some weeks ago to an oversold, and then also with a seasonal low. So we've been positive on the precious metal sector for some weeks now. Also, that was in conjunction with, often you can get a low for copper in November, December, sometime in that little window. Well, it actually was on December 1st. It became oversold. So we're getting a move in the base metals and the precious metals. And then the other one is that crude oil has been acting well, again, off of technical considerations. But hey, it's above 60 now, and you can often get a seasonal low for crude oil in January. So whether we get a quick correction in here or not, probable. But then let's be positive about the industrial commodities through to maybe into March. And then also with the precious metals, let's consider that as a probable target as well. So, and on our treatment of the precious metal sector, we have what we call our comfort indicators, which help either position or unposition. And one was that you take the gold stocks and divide them by gold itself, and you want to have that indicator basing and then starting to move up, which did happen. And then the other was the gold-silver ratio, and for a rally in the precious metal sector, you want to have silver outperforming gold, which has been the case. So that was a few weeks ago when these turned to becoming positive. So we like the sector, and it can continue. And let's have a near-term target would be, into February, perhaps into March. And whether it would be a huge move, Jim, I don't know yet, but at least it became oversold at a probable seasonal low, and the sector of precious metals has been acting reasonably well since.
We'll have more with Bob Hoye right after this.
I'm Brian Fowler, president of Blind Creek Resources Limited, listed on the TSX Venture Exchange, ticker symbol BCK. Blind Creek is focused in the Yukon, Northwest Territories, and British Columbia. The company's key property is the Blend Project, one of the largest undeveloped lead zinc silver deposits in Western Canada, plus plans to advance the recently acquired, fully permitted historic engineer gold mine in the Atlan District of Northwestern BC. Check us out at blindcreekresources.com.
Keep informed. Receive our weekly recap of thought-provoking articles, podcasts, and radio delivered to your inbox for free. Sign up for the HowStreet.com weekly recap on our homepage, HowStreet.com. Welcome back. We're speaking with Bob Hoye. Bob, how would you sum up 2017?
Very exciting on the political side. Fantastic on, I'd have to say, some of our calls on the sectors that we cover have been reliable. I'm pleased about that. And I think we're set up to have further political reform in 2018. Of course, it's midterm years for U.S. elections, and the media are bad on Republicans, and they've been stumbling around, but we still have to think of that individual voter who has had enough of big government, and I think they can get out. And there's the way the number of seats are just in the states is that there's more Democrat seats being voted on than Republican, and some of those Democrat areas are vulnerable. So I think the Republicans can pick up some seats. And then on the financial markets, we are in fly me, as Sinatra sang it, fly me to the moon area, and the valuations are horrendous. But it has a good story behind it now, which is the Republicans did make a major step away from the most anti-business administration in U.S. history with the Obama Democrats towards a very pro-business administration. And plus, it's just plain positive out there. The economy's improving. It's also been improving in Europe, too. So, but as with any highly speculative financial markets, there are some indicators that will probably begin to tell us when it's getting excessive again. And I just want to repeat again, Jim, the valuations are excessive, but the underlying fundamentals are improving for the moment, but quite likely the financial markets are well ahead of financial and economic reality. So it'll be interesting to see how the markets work out in the first quarter.
Bob, always a pleasure chatting with you. It's been a great year with our interesting conversations. How we get off topic, I don't know, but we always do, and then we get back again.
I don't know. It's a miracle.
Bob, I hope you have a great new year.
You too, Jim, and we'll look forward to talking to you, as they say, next year.
My guest has been market historian Bob Hoye. He's the chief investment strategist for institutionaladvisors.com. If you have any questions for Bob or anybody else on the show, you can email us at info@howstreet.com. I'm Jim Goddard. Happy New Year.
Comments made on HowStreet.com radio are an expression of opinion only and should not be construed in any matter whatsoever as recommendations to buy or sell any financial instrument at any time. Available online at TalkDigitalNetwork.com. HowStreet.com radio is a production of HowStreet Media Incorporated.